Hey, welcome back to the channel. Now, I remember I put the 4K split camera in this little X-Hover, and that didn't work out so well. So what I thought I'd do today is actually just going to have a look at a different lens, because the Runcam Split, I have it on the narrow field of view in this frame because I didn't want to get the props in shot, as you can see. So that was still leaving some props in shot, and also, as I say, I think it crops on the sensor, so the quality of footage on narrow field of view with the Runcam Split isn't really 1080p. It doesn't quite look right. This is the original lens. This is the 2.5mm that comes on the Split 2, and as you can see, it's quite a big lens. So I thought I'd try something else. I thought, hey, I've got some lenses here. So I played around and found a couple of old lenses. Now, one thing that's important to note is, oh, better turn that off. We don't need that noise going in the background. One thing that is important to note is that the lenses that come with the Split have an IR filter on them. What's an IR filter? Infrared. And you can kind of tell by the pinky tinge in the reflection there, that actually blocks infrared light, because the sensor is sensitive to infrared light. So if you have infrared light coming through, it kind of makes everything look pinky and funny. And so you have to have an infrared cut filter, which is what's on the standard Split lens. Now, I tried a couple of lenses off some old board cameras, and unfortunately, they didn't have infrared filters, so the results were terrible. But I did find a camera that I had laying around, one of these, which actually is a no-name, don't know where it came from, and it had a lens with an infrared filter on the back of it. So I put that in there. I think it's about a 3.6mm lens. Now, when you consider that we're running 2.5s in these days, running 1.8s or 2.3s, 3.6 mils is a very long lens. What does it mean? Well, that's the focal length. So it's got a very long focal length, which means it has a narrow field of view. In fact, even with the Runcam Split set on its widest field of view, you still can't see the props. So if you look at this, obviously the field of view, yeah, it's probably about 90 degrees. So it's quite narrow. So what I'm going to do is see how hard is it to fly a quad with a very narrow field of view. And why do I want the narrow field of view? Well, now I'm using the whole sensor on the Runcam Split, so hopefully I'll get a much sharper picture, and I won't get the props in shot, because the kind of footage I want to get is flying through the trees, getting the nice scenic shots with hopefully, a crispness to the image that the Split on narrow field of view with the wide lens doesn't give. So let's take it out. Let's see if we can even fly it with the narrow field of view, because it could be rather tricky. When you look at the history of quadcopters, mini quads, we've gone to wider and wider lenses. So when we started with I think we even started with 3mm, roughly 3mm, went to 2.8, then down to 2.5 now. So we just keep getting wider and wider lenses, because if you're flying proximity, you want to see stuff out to the side, and if you're racing, you want to line your gates up before you get to them. This will be a challenge, but let's give it a go and see how it works out. So how was that? Well, it was kind of strange because everything seemed so much faster. I'm sure it wasn't really fast, but it just felt fast and quite kind of difficult. But I got the hang of it a little bit. I'm a bit rusty. I haven't flown for several weeks. So yeah, it was interesting. I can't wait to see how the footage turned out. I noticed the lens, it's really crap lens. It's not very linear. The edges are kind of squashed, which is strange for a narrow field of view. Normally narrow field of view lenses are better, but hi. Yeah, it was an interesting twist. It made it more challenging to fly, and I like that. I really like it. It's blowing so much now, unbelievable. The turbulence didn't help at all.